Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'll try to be really short. I have the honor and immense pleasure of introducing the Honorable Chief Minister, Devendra Fadnavis, our chief guest and keynote speaker this afternoon. Our CM started his political career quite young. From Indira Convent, he was shifted to Saraswati Vidyalaya, where he completed his schooling. Roughly about the same time, he had begun attending the morning shakas of RSS. As expected, his early influence in politics was his legislator father, whom Nitin Gadkari has acknowledged. Unlike many of our politicians, he completed LLB, securing a gold medal in Hindu law. He then completed his postgraduate degree in business management and secured a diploma in methods and techniques of project management from Berlin, Germany. According to his mother, he still has one more degree to earn, a doctorate in law. We hope he'll be able to fulfill this too. After joining BJP's student wing, the Akhil Bharatiya Vidyarthi Parishad in 1989, he has recorded an absolutely meteoric rise in the next 25 years. When he was 21, he became a corporator of the Nagpur Municipal Corporation. By 27, as I said, he was already a mayor. At 29, he won his first assembly election in 1999, and in 2013, he took over as the chief of BJP's Maharashtra unit. A year later, at 44, he became the second youngest chief minister after Sharad Pawar, who was 38 when he became the CM. As somebody said, he is a patient listener who is impatient for change. Friends, on behalf of Money Life Foundation, please give a rousing welcome once again to Devendra Fadnavis, the CM of Maharashtra, as we invite him to address us.
Mrs. Sucheta Dalal, Debasis Basu, Mrs. Amruta Fadnavis, social activists, business leaders, people from a different walk of life, friends. At the outset, I would like to congratulate Money Life on its 5th Foundation Day for doing such wonderful work, which has really been meaningful and which has changed lives of many. In fact, it was announced that I would deliver a keynote address. Basically, although I understand economics a bit, but I really don't understand the capital market. My wife is a banker and she loves capital market. So I brought her thinking that she being my better half, the better half of my speech can be delivered by her. I feel that although while I was listening to Mrs. Sucheta Dalal, I discovered many things. Because for so many years, I used to say that what we need is financial literacy. Now I have discovered that financial literacy is not the ultimate achievement, because in 20 weeks or 20 months, you tend to forget what you have actually understood. But still I feel that it's very important. There was a time in early 90s or maybe late 90s when people used to say that a person who does not know information technology would be called illiterate, even though he may be a graduate. So the meaning of literacy would change, and the person who knows IT would be known as literate. That was the buzzword. But I feel today that along with the literacy, in today's world, if you have to survive, you need to have financial literacy. We say knowledge is power, but of late we must say that financial knowledge, fiscal knowledge, economic knowledge is more power. Because the way our lives have changed, and when I say that, it's not limited to only the middle class or higher middle class, which is always in search of investing whatever they can save. But the matter of fact is, if you look at our state, you will find that those communities, those areas which are financially empowered have progressed, and which have not been financially empowered are the most backward areas of our state. Although we boast that Maharashtra is one state which has highest number of the branches of commercial bank, public sector banks, cooperative banks, district cooperative banks, societies, but you would be surprised. 90% of the branches of all the banks in Maharashtra are in just 3 areas. It's Mumbai, it's Thane, and it's Pune. And rest of the Maharashtra only has 10% of the banking branches. And if you look at the credit deposit ratio, it's also dismal. In the areas like Vidarbha, in the areas like Marathwada, in the areas like northern Maharashtra, the credit percentage vis-a-vis entire credit extended in the Maharashtra, in Vidarbha it must be 2 to 3%, in Marathwada is less than 2%, in northern Maharashtra it's about 1%. So maybe if you can look at it from a different perspective, only those areas have progressed where the institutional financial aid was available, financial institutions were available, institutional financial credit was available, and those areas which did not have these institutions have remained backward. If you look at the farmer suicide in areas of Vidarbha and Marathwada, it's again directly connected with availability of institutional credit. Because when the institutional credit is not available, the only resort is private money lenders. And with one failure in crop, there's no one to reschedule your crop loans, unlike those who have institutional credits. And the ways by which the private money lenders try to extort back ultimately results into the farmer's suicide. So I feel that now the financial literacy, the financial inclusiveness is very important. When our Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji started scheme of Jana Dhan Yojana in Maharashtra alone, we have opened around 90 lakh new accounts. And more than 50% of these accounts are in rural remote areas. So our first thing which we need to do is to have a state of financial inclusiveness. And for financial inclusiveness, again, you require financial literacy. Today, when we look at the entire scenario, what we find, people need instruments to invest their money. But the Indian mentality is, we never look who is offering what are the credentials, how is he going to earn higher the rate of interest, and we are attracted. And we feel that it's not our duty. Once we have invested, let him earn, he will earn and he will give us back. It's like a story कि एक आदमी 100 रुपए की चीज लेता था और 50 रुपए में बेचता था, फिर भी लखपति बन गया. तो किसी ने पूछा कैसे, तो बोला पहले करोड़पति था. So we need to understand, people need to understand that if somebody earns, then only he will pass on the profits to you. As a home minister, when I look at the challenges before me, the biggest challenge is of economic offenses, is of Ponzi schemes, is of people losing their money in cooperative banks and cooperative societies. People losing their money in housing societies. Recently, in and around Mumbai, especially in the Thane area, there were many advertisements by certain companies, certain builders, that at a very low price, they offered a flat. And on a land, they constructed a beautiful office, well furnished with staff. They're sitting there, a beautiful plan was displayed. And it's not just one case, hundreds of such cases in just Thana area. People used to come and the word started spreading that at very low cost, we are getting a house, a flat. People invested. One fine morning, the office was locked. There was no one in office. And then people started investigating. They registered police complaint. So ultimately, after some investigation, police found out that the plot on which the office was constructed and on which the building was to be constructed was a defense land. And these guys who were collecting money out there, their names were fraud. No one was from the state, neither from Mumbai, nor from Thane, nor from Maharashtra. They ran away to their states. And while few of them were arrested, they did not have sufficient money, nor did they have any property which could be sold and these investors could be given back their money. So I feel that many things we need to work on. When we talk of a regulator in the housing The major thrust is because even best of the builders, I am not saying all, but even best of the builders are in a way doing frauds by selling the spaces in the name of sometimes carpet area, sometimes ground area, sometimes falana area, sometimes dhimka area. And ultimately, when you pay for 1000 square feet, you end up into getting 600 square feet, 550 square feet of a flat. The Ponzi schemes, so many people are losing their money. Fortunately, Maharashtra was one state which enacted Investors Protection Act. But for years together, it was challenged, it was struck down in the High Court, it went to the Supreme Court, and fortunately now the Supreme Court has upheld it, and we have started using the Investors Protection Act, which is a very stringent act, by which now we have got an instrument by which we can actually not just arrest them, but also in stipulated time we can sell their assets, we can take over their assets, we can sell them. And in one of the famous Ponzi scheme, very soon we are appointing a deputy collector as mandated by the Act to sell assets worth 5,000 crores. But I think still a lot of things are needed to be done. The economic offenses, especially by using the online medium, it's very difficult to control. Every day, technology is posing a new challenge. And unfortunately, while dealing in government, we feel that the scamsters and fraudsters are more technologically equipped than what we are. To give an example, the IT Act mandates that any complaint under IT Act should be registered and probed by an officer not less than a rank of an inspector. Now, if we look at most of our inspectors, they have joined force when there was no information technology. But our sub-inspectors are recent joinees. So they are technologically sound. They know how to use information technology. They know most of the technological advancements. But the problem is that Act mandates that inspector has to do the job. Now we have, in fact, requested the central government to amend the Act and also allow a sub-inspector. Because while I was taking a review, why so many online offenses and frauds under IT Act are still unresolved, or there is no conviction, or very few, 1 or 2 convictions, then I was told that the basic problem is that we don't have enough number of inspectors who know how to use IT. So now we have written to the central government, we have requested them to also allow the sub-inspectors. But now what we have decided? We have decided to strengthen the IT wing of our police. I am training 1,000 officers in IT, and soon entire force of 1,000 officers would be available with us for all the economic offenses or IT related offenses which are done online. And I feel that once we do it, many offenses either can be prevented or will crack it, and we can have conviction in such offenses. I feel that a lot of things are needed to be done, but what is the way ahead? The way ahead is more and more interaction, more and more indulgence. So here I differ, Sucheta ji, and I feel that the first step can only be making people financially literate. At least if we can make them understand कि भाई छोटी सी बात ध्यान में रखो, कोई अपने जेब से पैसा नहीं देता, पैसा लगाओगे तो इतना देख लो कि वो कमा कहाँ से रहा है. At least if we make understand people this, lot of frauds can be I think prevented. So since I already told you that I know economics a little bit, but not the financial market. So I think with this I would just like to congratulate you and tell you that our government would like to work closely with the associations like you, like Money Life, and based on your ground experiences, based on your inputs, we would like to make policies which would insulate our investors so that whenever they invest, they at least gain and not lose. Once again, I would like to thank you for calling me to this wonderful function. With this, thank you very much.